Hello everyone, it is I, and welcome to the Brumakian podcast, an episodic review series where I can review anything, but not everything, covering the background, the plot, and details of various tokusatsu films, anime, and video games. Now, for those of you who have just tuned into the show, and are a Godzilla fan like I am, in my last episode I explained that I'm doing this anime arc en route to Godzilla Singular Point, a Netflix anime series coming out in April of 2021. Hopefully. I'm sick of everything being cancelled or pushed back. When will it end? I will be going through anime in each genre, from the stellar classics that define the genre to wholesome, tragic, and epic tales and adventures of each series and movies that I'm going to review. So just sit back and enjoy. Now, for those of you who are still tuned in, thank you. You may recall what I said in the previous episode that the anime industry was on a huge decline after the release of the movie Akira. Anime that came out afterwards didn't get much notoriety because of it. And then, the 1990s came along. In 1993, Dragon Ball Z, the sequel to the original Dragon Ball, started airing on TV, and not only in Japan, but in the West as well, and it is still remembered to this day. Then, a year later in 1994, Mobile Fighter G Gundam began to air. However, because of the state of the anime industry, it didn't do so well. But the industry's luck was about to change. Enter Ghost in the Shell. Released in 1995, it was a major success in the box office and critically successful, mind you. Back on the TV side, Neon Genesis Evangelion made its debut. Its creator, Hideaki Anno, was given the creative freedom to do anything that he wants, and other studios are starting to take note of this. And then came along Sailor Moon, Princess Mononoke, Pokemon, a show that's based on the game by Nintendo themselves, and Perfect Blue. And now we come to 1998, and the show that I will be talking about today, a show called Cowboy Bebop. In the early stages, the show was Shinichiro Watanabe's first project as a director because beforehand, he was a co-director in other projects. He originally wanted it to be a movie, but instead opted to be a TV show. The inspirations for it was Lupin III, a show that focuses on the exploits of his titular character. When he was developing the story, Watanabe began to work on the characters first, stating, "The first images that occurred to me was one of Spike, the main character, and from there, I tried to build a story around him, trying to make him look cool." As the original dialogue was kept clean throughout, the sophistication was kept as well, since it was appropriate for adults. Later on, he described Cowboy Bebop as 80% serious story and 20% humorous touch, which is a perfect balance for my book. Now, skipping ahead here, you may recall that at the end of the previous episode that I said this show didn't do as well in Japan, but did extremely well in the United States. Let me be more specific. Cowboy Bebop made its debut on April 3rd and continued to air until June 26, 1998. The ones that aired were on TV Tokyo, one of the main broadcasts of anime that is still going to this day, and who are also the ones who are constantly testing us with this copyright shenanigans. However, because of its graphic violence that it shows, it only broadcasts a limited amount of episodes that didn't have that much to begin with. Because of that, it didn't do well ratings-wise. So it was completely removed from the network altogether. Then it was picked up by Wow Wow and Animax and showed all of the show in full, but it still didn't do that well. Turn the calendar over to 2001, and the anime industry was about to go national. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. You guys know Cartoon Network, right? It's pretty obvious that you might know what it is. A TV program where there's nothing but cartoons all day, every day. And in the 1990s and the 2000s, those were the golden years. Well, that's just my opinion, since I was born in 1998. Regardless, there was also something that adults could enjoy while the kids were asleep. Its appropriate name was Adult Swim. For those of you who do not know, Adult Swim is an American adult-oriented nighttime programming block of the basic cable network Cartoon Network that is programmed by its in-house production studio, William Street. Marketed as a separate network for ratings purposes, Adult Swim currently broadcasts nightly from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Well, beforehand it was 8 a.m. I guess they changed it. Anyway, the show aired on Adult Swim on September 2nd, 2001, and believe it or not, it was the first anime to be aired on the block, and strangely, it wasn't aired during Toonami, Adult Swim's program that mainly broadcasts Japanese animation and the occasional action cartoons. American action cartoons. Regardless, it was a massive success, so much so that it would continue to air once every 4 years. In 2012, when Toonami made its return, it was aired one last time. Now, I never got the chance to watch it back then because A, I wasn't allowed, and B, I was only 3 years old when it aired. Yet in 2018, I was curious, but not that curious. And word around the internet is that the English dub of Cowboy Bebop is one of the greatest English translations ever. I'm a guy who says see to believe. That is, until I found a clip of it on YouTube. And the moment I heard Steve Bloom's voice, my curiosity peaked. Needless to say, I was impressed. When I come back from this 2-minute break, I will dive right into the story itself. Oh yeah, we're going into heavy spoiler territory.
Real bad boy. I've got a ton of gravel in my shoes, world on my shoulder, heart full of blues. I'm in the dirt, down in the dirt. I've been a real bad boy on the town all night, starting to calm down with the morning light. I'm in the dirt, down in the dirt. Been a real bad boy. I've been a real bad boy on the town all night, starting to calm down with the morning light. I'm in the dirt, down in the dirt, down in the dirt, down in the dirt, down in the dirt.
Okay, so spoilers are up ahead. You have been warned. In 2071, roughly 50 years after an accident with a hyperspace gateway made the Earth almost uninhabitable, humanity has colonized most of the rocky planets and moons of the solar system. Amid a rising crime rate, the Intersolar System Police, the ISSC, set up a legalized contract system in which registered bounty hunters, also referred to as Cowboys, go figure, chase criminals and bring them in alive in return for a reward. The show's protagonists are bounty hunters working from the spaceship Bebop. The original crew are Spike Spiegel, an exiled former hitman of the criminal Red Dragon Syndicate, and Jet Black, a former ISSP officer, They are later joined by Faye Valentine, an amnesiac con artist, Edward Wong, an eccentric girl skilled on hacking. Wait, if she's a girl, then why did she have the name Edward? And Ein, a genetically engineered Pembroke Welsh corgi with human-like intelligence. Over the course of the series, the team get involved in disastrous mishaps, leaving them without money, while often confronting faces and events from their past. These include Jet's reasons for leaving the ISSP and Faye's past as a young woman from Earth injured in an accident and cryogenically frozen to save her life. Okay, this next part is full of heavy spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, then I suggest you skip to this timestamp right here. I'll give you like 5 seconds. The main story arc focuses on Spike and his deadly rivalry with Vicious, an ambitious criminal affiliated with the Red Dragon Syndicate. You see, Spike and Vicious were once partners and friends, but when Spike began an affair with Vicious' then girlfriend Julia and resolved to leave the syndicate with her, Vicious sought to eliminate Spike by blackmailing Julia into killing him. Julia instead goes into hiding to protect herself, and Spike faces death to escape the syndicate. In the present, Julia comes out of hiding and reunites with Spike, intending to complete their plan. Vicious, having staged a coup d'etat and taken over the syndicate, sends hitmen after the pair. Julia is killed, leaving Spike all alone. Spike leaves the Bebop after saying a final goodbye to Faye and Jet. Although he didn't specifically say goodbye to the both of them, you can sure see it within his eyes. Upon infiltrating the syndicate, he finds Vicious on the top floor of the building and confronts him after dispatching the remaining Red Dragon members. The final battle ends with Spike killing Vicious, only to be seriously wounded himself in the ensuing confrontation. The series ends as Spike descends the main staircase of the building into the rising sun, before eventually falling to the ground, not without one last bang. When I come back from this 2-minute break, I will give you my final thoughts on the show as a whole. In the meantime, here is Whorehouse Blues by Motorhead. Yeah, they could do country blues. That's why I love them. Fantastic. Never before has an animated show of this caliber ever shattered my expectations. The main story of the show is fantastic, and it's very simple. Spike is haunted by his own past that he himself is running away from, even when it's staring right at him. The show, like the others, has some filler in it, sure, but I'll take good filler over bad filler any day. And get this, the ending created a lot of theories, but you know what? I didn't think it that way. I thought it ended just the way it is. It was perfect. The main crew of the ship Bebop are so likable. Spike is the most smoothest guy that I've ever seen. You can teach him the blues and he still be smooth in his own lyrics. At first, I thought Faye Valentine was going to be a complete nuisance for the entire time, but she turned out to be a well-rounded character. Jet is very old school in a father figure. You can tell by his ship and his relationship with Spike and the others, especially Edward. Oh my gosh, speaking of, she is adorable. She reminds me of what I was like in my childhood. God, I hate being old. And every time she's on screen, I'm just waiting for something random to happen. Vicious, the main villain, is such a conniving dickhead that you wish he was dead already. And that's a good thing. As far as everyone else is concerned, either a one-shot or in the next episode, they can range from great to outstanding. Even the filler characters did not feel like they're taking away the needed space, no pun intended. Speaking of, the setting, the different planets, genius. I love how it doesn't start off on Earth, and the few times that it did show the planet, it's just another layer of variety, and the variety extends to the ships. The designs of each ship, either in space or on other planets, are fantastic. No further words needed. And I'll tell you what, son, the animation by Studio Sunrise is so goddamn smooth and delicious it come with a side of gravy, sawmill gravy of that. Not a single frame of animation is dated by today's standards. The choreography, mamma mia, that's a delicious meatball. Alright, so let me just say this right now. The voice acting is S tier, my boy. As a man who watches anime mostly dub, it's a rare occasion where I do watch it in sub. The English dub is fan-fucking-tastic. And you know a dub is fantastic when you have Spike Spiegel being voiced by Steve Bloom himself. Yeah, you heard me. Every time he speaks, it just grabs your attention, and major props to the other voice actors who also did a fantastic job as well. Another thing that is great is the music. Yoko Kanno is a genius. Combining blues, jazz, and a hint of metal, genius. It reminds me a lot of noir music. The opening song Tank is one of them. It's so noir and catchy that it almost makes me want to dance. Yeah, seriously. And the ending credits theme is just great for the ears. Overall, Cowboy Bebop deserves to be called a classic for a reason. In my opinion, it made me realize how much a story, characters, and animation would do when they are given the creative freedom. As a result, the show earns the rarely given perfect grade of a maximum 100 bounty hunters out of 100. A must-watch indeed. Get it on any platform. It's even here on YouTube, for God's sake. What are you doing? Just buy it. Buy it. When do you buy it? Buy it. And so, the 90s drew to a close. With this resurgence in high gear, I feel like it would be fitting that I review another show that also aired on Adult Swim. But that will only come next time. Until then, thank you all for listening and your support. If you want more juicy content in the future, then subscribe and get notified. If you want to support me even more, then head on over to Podbean and follow the show Brumakian Podcast, where I'm currently re-reviewing giant monster movies from 1954 up to the present day. This has been Demetrius signing off, and until next time, I'll be speeding off in my Vespa. Have a good day, everyone.